Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
Costco just warned the US economy is collapsing.
Costco just sent shockwaves through Wall Street with their latest earnings report. The retail giant is seeing alarming trends that spell disaster for the broader economy. The writing is on the wall, and smart investors need to pay attention now. Costco CFO explicitly stated that consumer behavior is shifting dramatically as inflation continues to erode purchasing power across all income brackets. Costco is arguably one of the most successful retail warehouse chains in the entire country. They have over 850 locations worldwide.
Not one of the most. What we have Costco, Sam's, BJ's. Sam's is cool.
I like that show.
BJ's definitely not to that level, but Costco is the most successful. Like, I would say Sam's is second. BJ's look like it's one leg bankrupt, but they're still around.
I wish he showed the numbers.
Uh, I guess it's not about that. I'm just kind of picking at what he's saying, but I I do hope they're gonna show kind of because Costco can really feel it how what people are buying. Category like how are they like
Mm.
only buying food now? They stop buying all the other stuff. So hopefully he shows that.
With 591 stores just in the US alone. They've built their entire business model on providing bulk products at competitive prices, backed by their legendary membership program that boasts a remarkable 93% renewal rate. Costco has been a retail stalwart for decades, consistently delivering value, quality, and stability through economic ups and downs. But even a company like Costco is starting to show concerning signs in this economy. Costco just released their quarterly earnings report for Q2 2025, and what it revealed is that while revenues actually went up by 4.2% year over year, which on the surface looks good, their same store sales only increased by 1.7%, far below the 3.5% that analysts were expecting. This represents a huge miss, and after this announcement,
But why were they expecting such a high increase though? I mean, it still increased, you know.
Costco's stock dropped by 5.8%
Oh
in
wow,
after hours trading. One thing that Costco's CEO highlighted on the earnings call is that they're noticing significant changes in consumer purchasing behavior. Customers
that's
are
not
increasingly
Costco.
gravitating toward essential items and showing price sensitivity even with Costco's already value oriented model. They're seeing
Mm.
shopping cart sizes decrease and a shift away from
Yeah,
discretionary purchases.
I can see that. Like when there's like a new product, people used to be willing to want to buy it and purchase it, take that risk on. But now people seem to be buying the essentials and then leaving exactly what they came in for.
This is just going to be one of many stories in this video because there is so much to unpack about what's happening in the economy this week. I thought we would start with Costco because even the companies that are supposedly doing really well aren't actually performing that well anymore. That's the alarm bell we all need to pay attention to. Costco reported they experienced a 6.8% decrease in electronics and big ticket item purchases, while basic necessities like food and household consumables saw a 4.3% increase. The CFO described it as consumers becoming increasingly value conscious in this challenging economic environment. Why are people so value conscious right now? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because the cost of living has gone through the roof and everybody's looking for ways to
Oh
save
yeah,
money?
duh.
According to a recent survey from the National Retail Federation, 72% of consumers now view warehouse club memberships as an economic necessity rather than a convenience, as they've become essential for managing household budgets. However,
And I think their margins are better when you don't buy like the essential products.
What do you mean?
Like, okay, when you go to Costco, they have the $5 chicken. That's of course is
Lost leader, yeah.
a lost lead. So people go and get that, but they're also banking and hoping that they purchase other products
Right.
that will catch their eye,
Oh,
which they
that's
can
true.
have better
Yeah,
margins
yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. But as far as I wanted to say, what he said, yeah, that warehouse is becoming a necessity. Um, I don't know. If you have a family, yes, possibly. But I think the thing with Costco, the quality is really high, but it's expensive. Like if you were to shop at Aldi or Walmart, you would potentially buy some of the essentials
Oh,
cheaper.
no, the eggs were more
No,
expensive.
eggs is Costco is cheaper, yes. But for example, cucumbers and tomatoes we buy at Walmart because Walmart is way cheaper because Costco only has organic cucumbers. Cute, but I mean it's over double the price, So not everything is cheaper at Costco, but
Mm.
like when it comes to foods mostly. Now when it comes to other stuff like toilet papers and all that, Costco is the way to go definitely. But yeah, vegetables, I've been noticing that like apples cheaper at apples are actually cheaper in BJ's than Costco. yeah, like if you're really trying to save, you kind of have to look at different places.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I wouldn't say Costco membership is a necessity per se. I think if you have a big family, yes. But if you just like living solo or like just like two people, it's a like some foods might go bad before you finish it. Especially fruit and vegetables. It's the big
Mm-hmm.
packs. You have to eat. You have to eat those foods.
From how I see it, people who go to Costco, they don't go like every week. They probably go once a month to get their bulk purchases, and then maybe in another 2 months they go back to Costco. But now we're seeing a trend where you can go in a random day in the middle of the week, and Costco's parking lot is packed with a whole bunch of people, either in line to get a membership or they're in line to shop essential products, because you used to see carts of like random things in people's bins, but now you see like, okay, it's mostly what you see is food and not snacks.
For even with this value segment, 58% of shoppers report they're purchasing fewer non essential items than they were just 6 months ago. The reality is that Costco's membership fees are extremely competitive at just $60 for a basic Gold Star membership, and their executive membership at $120 actually pays for itself with the 2% back rewards for frequent shoppers. The fact that people are still cutting back on discretionary spending, even at Costco, the epitome of consumer value, is deeply concerning for our economy. Costco's CEO also mentioned they're not really jumping on board with all these promotional deals that many other retailers are doing. Instead, Costco has maintained its strategy of everyday low pricing rather than flashy limited time offers. Last year, they did implement a stock up.
No, they do sales. Costco do sales every month. They rotate sales. Costco sales are good too. Yeah. If
What's flashy limited time offers? I don't
like
understand.
the Costco sales that they do,
They say they steer away from it.
but that's one side I disagree. I don't think they
Oh,
do. They do
I
the
don't know.
sales though. Like every month, like every 3 weeks, they rotate the sales, and their sales are. If you like, I think the thing with Costco is if you patient, if because it's very tempting when they drop something new because they do bring new goods and if it's very tempting to buy. But if you're patient and you waited for it on sales, it's really good price.
Mhm.
Up and Save event instead of Inflation Beater promotion, which allowed members to save an additional 20% on select bulk items. They've also maintained their famous $1.50 hot dog and soda combo and $4.99 rotisserie
Didn't they say that the hot dog is going away? Well, I feel like I heard that.
I don't know. It's still there.
Oh,
chicken despite inflationary pressures, positioning these as value anchors that drive foot traffic. I've been a Costco member for years, and I'm not going to lie, it's still one of the best deals in retail. Their Kirkland signature products consistently receive high ratings from consumer reports, often outperforming national brands at significantly lower prices. If I have to choose, I'd rather shop at Costco than almost anywhere else for household staples. But the fact that even Costco shoppers are pulling back should concern every investor watching this video. We know that the retail industry has been struggling for a while now, but here's another major retailer that recently announced store closings. Bed Bath & Beyond. After emerging from bankruptcy under new ownership, they announced they're closing another 45 locations nationwide. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard about their struggles. They once had over 1,500 stores nationwide, but now they're down to fewer than 350 locations, primarily concentrated in major metropolitan areas. The company was purchased by Overstock.com in a bankruptcy auction last year for just $21.5 million, a mere fraction of what the brand was once worth.
wow,
They
that's
just
very
closed.
low. 21 millions for such a. That's so
You
little.
could have bought it.
Well,
I'm
not
just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
not me, but like Bed Bath and Beyond. That's you would feel like that's $1 billion business with all the
Mhm.
stores they had at one. Wow.
3 stores in the Chicago area,
At
which
that
means
point,
they're
when they did the purchasing, I wonder how many stores they actually have.
I don't know, but wow, that's crazy.
retreating from another major market. All they did was put signs in the window saying, "Thank you for your loyalty. This location is permanently closed." That's it, no explanation. But I'm willing to bet it's for the same reason all other retailers are closing locations: slow sales, changing consumer behavior, and the need to cut losses. And that's why we said earlier that when you see a company like Costco start to have trouble, you know things are getting real. Costco is literally one of the most successful retail operations in the world, with some of the highest revenue per square foot in the industry. Yet even they are now showing signs of stress. Things are only getting started with this economic downturn because major corporations across sectors are announcing significant layoffs. Intel just announced they're laying off 15,000 employees, approximately 15% of their global workforce. Goldman Sachs cut 3,200 positions. Hasbro eliminated 1,100 jobs. The list goes on and on. These layoffs are going to have a massive ripple effect throughout the economy, which we're going to talk about in in just
And that's the signs of
Mm.
recession. When these companies like Intel start laying people off, we'll be in trouble.
And I know people like they can work at Costco for a long time.
Yeah, we know people at Costco work since 2000.
a second. But first, let's go over the details of what's happening at Costco specifically. In their investor call, Costco revealed that foot traffic declined by 2.3% compared to the same quarter last year, the first such decline in nearly 4 years. This is particularly alarming because Costco has historically been
That's
resilient
Publix.
even during economic downturns. Their executive
Looks like our Publix almost.
I think they all look like a
You
standard.
think so? Because
Yeah.
look, this is like the sale aisle, and then the pharmacy, then
Yeah.
there's
I think
bread.
everyone has to
Wow.
look the same.
Yeah, it looks the same. Oh.
membership renewals, while still high at 90%, have fallen 2 percentage points year over year, signaling that even their most loyal customers are reassessing their spending priorities. And if they actually see membership renewals continue to trend downward, this could mean a significant hit to their bottom line, since membership fees account for approximately 75% of Costco's operating income. Remember, Costco's entire business model is built on razor-thin margins on products, with profitability coming primarily from membership fees.
Makes sense now why they're doing the whole check-in in entrance, so people don't use other people's cards, because it seems that they're starting to make less money from the card sales.
Here's how these indicators at Costco will affect the broader economy. When a value retailer like Costco sees changing consumer behavior, it's often a leading indicator of deeper economic issues. Costco customers span all income brackets, but they share one common trait: they're value-conscious consumers. When these shoppers pull back, it signals widespread economic caution that will soon manifest across other retail segments. The reality is that these consumer shifts have only been happening for about a quarter now. We haven't even begun to see the true effects of how this is going to play out throughout the economy. This is all on top of the regular firings and layoffs that we've been hearing about from private companies. Best Buy just announced this week that they're laying off 3,500 workers, all from their retail locations. Remember, retail employees may not be the highest income earners, but they represent a vital piece of consumer spending in this country. Same thing goes with a lot of these Costco workers who are seeing their hours cut as the company adjusts shifting demand. Best Buy has been seeing quarterly sales decline through
Yeah, but taking these companies like Best Buy, Bed Bath and Beyond, these businesses were, the moment Amazon became what it is, these businesses were all gonna become obsolete at some point. And they're reaching that point, so this has nothing to do with current economy, it just has to do that they're redundant. We don't need them. Who goes to Best Buy when you can buy online? It just is what it is. Same with Bed Bath and Beyond.
People like to go to a brick and mortar to see the product, touch the product, use
Old
the product.
people. Old people are also dying.
No, also for me, I like to test products like in person to see if I would like it before blind buying it. And then I go online to buy it. But I like to go in person to
Thank
see
you for proving my point.
Well,
People like to go, but not spend money.
but they can actually purchase it in the store if they want
I
to.
understand. Of course, that's the whole idea, to go to the store, but it's just cheaper online, more convenient. It's you can't compete with it.
several quarters of the past year. They haven't been doing well for a while now, and they're starting to implement major changes too. Only retail workers are being affected by this round of layoffs. They said nobody's going to be laid off in corporate, distribution, or their Geek Squad departments. Guess what happened after that announcement? Shortly after the layoff announcement, Best Buy shares went up 3.2%. These layoff announcements are good news for the stock market. That's one thing we've gone over several times in past videos. Every time you see these companies
I
do a
wonder
layoff
why.
announcement,
I would
watch
think
what happens.
people would be upset. Oh, you're firing like ordinary people, but everyone in corporate positions are keeping their positions.
I think it's good for for the stocks, because that means, okay, you cutting down spending.
Yeah, but I would think cutting corporate positions would make more room of a budget than a
But
retail worker.
you're probably just replacing retail workers with self-checkout though.
Mm-hmm.
So you're cutting down spending, which is you're gonna make more money.
That's if as long as you already had invested into the technology for the self checkout.
I think at this point most of the business is kind of, even Costco.
I just wonder how come the stock went up.
I don't know.
Happens to their stock price shortly after. You see the price go up because investors are now excited that they're going to have less overhead to pay, which means ultimately that profits go up. Please take 2 seconds to help me out and hit the like and subscribe if you find this video interesting so far. Each like and subscribe helps support this channel and keeps us motivated to keep making you great content. Thank you. Now, let's continue. There are other retail brands that have announced smaller layoffs lately. Gap Inc. said they're going to be laying off 400 corporate employees across their brands. Walgreens announced last month it's closing 1,200 stores over the next 3 years. Are you getting the picture that things are actually turning for the worse and the economy is not as good as people have been talking about? Everybody's just been saying how great.
So those spaces, I'm curious now, they may turn into now
Houses,
yeah, housing.
homes, yeah. Yeah, but as you know, as we've seen throughout the reactions, the zoning
Mm-hmm.
might not work out. I don't know. You have to rezone the. I don't know how that's gonna be, uh,
Developers pay for the rezoning.
but you can.
You can rezone. It just
Oh.
costs you money to rezone and file with the city.
Whatever. I kind of thought there's certain
Mm-hmm.
zones. That's it. That's what it can be.
Mm.
Okay, but all the businesses he's showing here are redundant. Like to me, this is not
Walgreens?
Walgreens, Gap. It's not showing like the economy. It's showing that okay, that type of business because all of them are brick and mortar.
Mm-hmm.
Like okay, when he showed Intel is firing people, okay, that's concerning because that's completely different business. But when we're seeing the retailers fire, yes, retail is like becoming obsolete.
Mhm.
The only places that are gonna,
Intel is not computers.
yeah, it's computer processors.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So the only places that are not gonna be obsolete is the grocery stores, which is the videos about Costco. So that's if Costco started shutting down, now we have a problem. But all these gaps shutting down is like okay, you can.
Walgreens. Walgreens is
Walk
important
is expensive as fuck.
because that's where people can file for their medicines, the
Yeah,
prescriptions.
you can do that, Costco. Costco has pharmacy. Walmart, Publix, every store has a pharmacy. It's just
Mm,
historically Walgreens is associated with pharmacy, but realistically, every store has a pharmacy.
mm. I never heard of people going to Costco. I know they have one, but I
Yeah.
didn't think I would first my go-to would be Walgreens because they
Um,
established that as their brand.
My first would be Costco because Costco is way cheaper.
Um,
The Costco
I don't
actually,
know.
Costco pharmacies are actually really cheap. Their generics are really good.
Great things have been for so
You're talking
long.
about the medicine aisle or the pharmacy?
No, pharmacy
Oh,
generics. Yeah,
okay,
I've
okay.
never shopped there. That's what I read online.
Oh,
And that myth is now being debunked. It's no surprise with all these announcements and everything happening in the economy that consumer confidence just took a huge nosedive. In fact, it was the biggest monthly decline since August 2021, as people are starting to get worried about inflation once again, as well as losing their jobs given the current state of affairs. The Consumer Confidence Index just fell again, making it the third straight month of decline and marking the largest monthly decline in nearly 4 years. What does that tell you? It tells you that people are
Third straight month of decline, meaning one more month of decline. I think that's considered recession.
waking up and realizing things
but
aren't so
only
great.
for Costco or the overall.
I think this
econ-
is now we're talking about the whole economy.
And it's finally starting to become apparent that that's the case. Last week, we talked about how home builders were also worried. The NAHB Wells Fargo Housing Market Index, which measures home builder sentiment, fell to 35 in April 2025, down from 51 just 6 months ago. This plummet is due to all the markers that home
Okay,
builders
now
are
this is
watching for the
concerning.
next 3 to 6 months going down. Fewer expected
What?
home sales.
Can you
And
rewind it? I didn't hear.
the NAHB Wells Fargo Housing Market Index, which measures home builder sentiment, fell to 35 in April 2025, down from 51 just 6 months ago. This plummet is due to all the markers that home builders are watching for the next 3 to 6 months going down. Fewer expected home sales,
What do
anticipated
you mean
price
markers? Oh, I guess okay, I understand.
reductions, and concerns about buyer qualification in this high interest rate environment. The crazy thing is that economic optimism was sky high just a few months ago, but now all of that optimism is evaporating. This shouldn't be a huge surprise because this is something we've been telling people on this channel for a while.
This is
This
like Miami.
economic trajectory we're on
I'm telling you, all the footage here looks like from South Florida. The Publix is everything.
is going to continue regardless of other factors. It might make a huge difference eventually, but it's probably going to make things worse before it gets better. That's the smart approach because that's the only way to fix these problems. Companies that don't generate sustainable profits need to reset. The U.S. economy needs to get back to a point of genuine prosperity because we've been far away from that for a long time now. According to the conference board, consumers have now become pessimistic about future business conditions and less optimistic about future income. And rightfully so. Everything we just talked about backs up that sentiment. People also have pretty much zero faith that inflation is going to go away. It's going to continue to remain a problem. Even the Fed themselves are keeping a close eye on it to see where things go, but we're pretty sure they know that it's going to continue to get worse because their fight on inflation has been largely ineffective. If their fight on inflation was truly working, we would have already seen inflation get knocked down to the 2% target. But that's not what we're seeing. We're starting to see it resurge at a time when it's supposed to be going down. Ultimately, all of these expectations and fears affect
Well, but that's because of tariffs. So to say that their tactics are not working is a little unfair. The tactics were working. until they announce the tariffs.
how people spend money and what they do to
We
prepare for
do
the future.
see Amazon kind of fighting this.
That was fake news.
It was.
Yeah, Amazon said they're not doing that.
So why did it come out as news?
I don't know. Somebody, because Twitter doesn't censor anything nowadays. You can.
Because I was curious how they're gonna show
It was fake news. Yeah.
how the tariffs affect the price.
Percentage of the price. But yeah, that's fake news.
Future. Some economists say we don't have to worry about this just yet because even though consumer sentiment just came out really low, we can't just go by 1 month's reading. We have to look at the trend. They pointed out a time back in June 2022 when consumer sentiment fell to a record low because inflation reached its peak, but Americans continued to spend. Let's analyze that for a second. First of all, June 2022 feels like a lifetime ago. People still had extra money back then because they hadn't yet been fully squeezed by persistent inflation like they have now in 2025. It's easy to keep spending when you haven't seen the full effects of inflation permeate your budget. In addition, something that these reports never take into consideration is
This
that,
is
of course,
Miami.
people have to
South
continue to
Beach.
spend. Life doesn't just stop. If everything costs more, then it appears that spending is going up because nominally it is. People have to spend more to buy the same products and services. That doesn't mean people are buying more. It just means what they are buying costs more than it used to. When you fast forward to today, this is a much different situation than what we
That's
saw in
Cali.
2022. Today's economy is rife with uncertainty, and that's going to affect people's spending plans. People are uncertain about their jobs, uncertain about inflation, and uncertain about what's going to happen next. Morgan Stanley also released a survey just days ago saying about 68% of the people surveyed across the country said they plan to reduce their
I never
discretionary
heard them
spending.
called
Cite-
Morgan Stanley. This must be a rebrand.
What was it called before?
I'm not Morgan Stanley. I feel like it's Morgan and Stanley or something like that.
Oh.
Economic uncertainty is the primary reason. I think that's smart. This is what we've been telling people to do for a long time now on this channel. Will it help expedite the downturn if people slow down spending and start saving more? Absolutely, but it's in your own best interest to do so because you need to make sure your own bills are paid and your family is taken care of. Of course, the ironic part is that the more people hunker down and spend less, the worse the overall economy performs, and more people end up losing their jobs. It's that spiral effect. Morgan Stanley also said that consumer behaviors are shifting. The value of the dollar and what it's providing may not be as predictable anymore, and that is starting to shift consumer behavior. No kidding. This is why we've told people time and time again to get out of debt. It's fewer dollars you'll have to pump into the debt system and less interest you'll have to pay, which means more money saved for managing this unexpected volatility in prices. We've also consistently advised people to consider hard assets like precious metals, real estate in certain markets, and dividend-paying stocks because these tend to provide some inflation protection. You're preserving real wealth at that point, not just accumulating depreciating dollars. This Morgan Stanley survey also showed that 77% of Gen X and 81% of baby boomers, which likely includes most of you watching this video, plan to pare back their spending in the coming months. We'll see if that actually happens, but unlike younger generations who often spend impulsively, your demographic tends to be more strategic with financial decisions. Honestly, we don't think it really matters anymore what happens next. The
No,
momentum is already
younger people are into stocks.
Yeah.
They're
Shifted
not
in
wasting money on avocado toast.
favor of things taking a turn for the worse, and the situation is just going to have to play itself out. There's nothing that people can really do to reverse it collectively. All you can do is prepare yourself and your portfolio. If you've been watching our channel for a while now, you've probably already implemented many of the strategies we recommended. Eliminating high interest debt, building a proper emergency fund, diversifying your investments beyond just
I guess that's just life advice. No.
Can we see the comments?
Yeah. Economy is purposefully being collapsed. Agenda 2030, World Economic Forum, Depop, Great Reset. I have been spending $100 a week at Walmart per week. Single person. I decided to stock up a bit last week because their same prices are going to go up in the next 2 weeks because of tariffs. I bought an extra bag of rice, olive oil, canned tuna, chocolate, sugar, and my bill was $187. Can't imagine what the grocery bill will be in 2 weeks. Same amount of groceries would have been around 50 not that long ago. No raise in pay though, while the corporation profits are through the roof. I don't recognize this America anymore.
I was thinking of getting some rice and beans
Mm.
because that's what you can do because the rice and beans are always really affordable.
Yep. I just spent $260 there stocking my pantry items. I didn't see anyone buying anything other than food either. No giant TVs or sofas.
Yeah.
I've been a Costco member since '92. Yes, parking lots are still full, but the cars isn't as full as. I have to be fair. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I don't really look at other people's cars,
I do.
but I do now. The person mentioned like the no giant TVs and sofas. It's been a minute since I saw a TV like being bought
Mm-hmm.
at Costco. Like maybe like 3 months ago, last time I saw a TV. I definitely don't see like as much of the big stuff
Yeah.
being bought. Yeah, but no, as far as like if they're buying food or socks, like
Oh,
to
I'm
that
looking.
extent, I can't tell. Like
My
no.
girls haven't been looking at the clothes either. The clothes sit right there.
Yeah, like whenever we walk past the like electronics aisles and all that, they're
Mm-hmm.
always empty. Like we never see any
Mm-hmm.
people in there. So, but that's just personal experience. That's not a
Mm.
fact, you
When
know.
I see like a big cart, they're Instacarters.
Yes, Instacart, but Instacart is always only food too. So
Yeah.
it's mostly we see food
Mm-hmm.
being bought. Yeah.
More Instacarters though. More people are taking on like multiple jobs to get by during this
Yeah, but
time.
that's also kind of counterintuitive because Instacart charges a premium, so that means you're not really trying to save. Because
I
if you're
thought
not
is
coming
there
to
a
yourself,
way to get around having to pay the membership? You go on Instacart and you can
yeah,
still
but the
shop at
Instacart
Costco.
adds like 10-20% of on the
I don't
price.
know if it's still better than
Nah,
buying.
it's not
I
better.
don't know.
Mm.
We're assuming that the shopper knows like
Mm.
I don't know. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.